Greetings, salutations, welcome to TFI. So we've got a bit of a unique video today. A bit of a special guest. This is Chris Benner from Autodesk, who's recently joined the company. He's in a position which might be of some interest to a lot of the guys who follow my channel and also who are just generally part of the Autodesk community. So I thought we'd bring Chris onto the channel, let him introduce himself, and also just get a bit of an insight into what Chris is all about, what he's involved with, and how he might also or how the work he's doing might also be of benefit to you guys, because he's working on some quite interesting stuff. That's what today is all about. So without any further ado, hi Chris, how are you doing?
Thanks for having me on the channel. I'm doing great.
Good. Yeah, so if you just want to quickly start, mate, by just letting us know what your position is over at Autodesk, your title is, and what it is you get up to over at Autodesk.
It's a really fancy title. It's longer than I'm used to seeing, but I am the community manager for product design and manufacturing. So say that 5 times fast. But that's my official title.
Right. So what were you up to before you joined as a community manager? Because obviously we've known each other we've been familiar with each other for quite some time. Yeah. You were a big part of the Autodesk community leading up to joining Autodesk very recently. So do you want to just give a quick word on what it is you were involved with prior to joining Autodesk?
Sure. For the last 14 years, I was working at a small manufacturing firm in central Michigan, Powell Fabrication. Powell designs and builds skid-mounted chemical processing machines. And I was their lead designer, CAD manager, and vault administrator for the last about 10 of those 14 years. So heavily involved in the design phase of everything, Inventor user, Vault user, AutoCAD user. Got involved in the community about 2010 when Powell was switching back to Autodesk products from PTC products. We were using Pro Engineer for a while. And so I started getting involved in the community because it became my job to get the Inventor tube and pipe set up for the company. And I had no clue what I was doing. Nobody had any ideas. So naturally I hit forums. And I started asking a ton of questions in the Inventor forums, the Vault forums, trying to figure out what I was doing. And got, slowly but surely started learning the products and getting them set up, and quickly realized that there were questions that I could answer on these forums. So I started answering questions whenever I could, give a little bit back. And that built. And finally in 2012, I was invited to join the first class of the Expert Elites with Autodesk. And that kind of got me a little bit deeper into involvement in the community. As you well know, you get kind of a little bit of a glimpse behind the curtain. That kind of got me, it became my goal to someday work for Autodesk. And here we are, only 8 years later, I have managed to recognize that goal. So here I am.
So community manager sounds like a pretty decent role within Autodesk. Certainly a meaningful role that sounds like it's going to benefit a lot of people. It sounds like you're going to have quite a big impact. So can you give a quick overview of what your roles, responsibilities, and what your end goal is as a community manager?
The official description of what I do is to connect people with the expertise that they need. That's the official word on it. The way I see it is I'm going to be perusing the user forums, specifically Inventor involved, but a couple of others that I'll be following as well. And I'm going to be making sure that people who post questions in these forums are getting a response, hopefully a good response, getting a solution to their problem if and wherever possible. From being on the inside now, I have a way of making sure that the right people see these questions and hopefully can give an answer. If there is an answer. Sometimes there is no answer. Sometimes the answer, unfortunately, is no, you can't do that. But at least it's an answer. And if I can connect somebody with one of the Expert Elites or with somebody from the product team or somebody within Autodesk that I know could help them, then that's what I'm going to do. If I can answer the question myself, obviously I'm going to take the question myself.
So is there any, even just after the short time you've been at Autodesk now, is there anything that obviously the role you had at Powell, you were deep into sort of vault administration, high-end Inventor user. Are there already challenges and issues that you were facing day in and day out at Powell that you knew the wider community also struggled with, that you're already trying to get on the radar and fixed internally? Is that something that is kind of, you're able to do that?
It's something that I'm continuing. I mean, I started that process while I was still at Powell. Being in the expert elites got me kind of an insider connection with some of the product managers, product developers. I was able to connect with them one-on-one and talk about specific issues and actually make some progress in the improvement of the products. You've seen the idea stations in the forums. And I can tell you that quite a few of the ideas that I've posted over the years have actually been implemented into the software. So that's not anything really new, but it's something that I definitely will be continuing, and I actually have channels now inside that I can directly connect with these people, even remotely, since nobody can leave their homes these days. But yeah, it's definitely something I intend to continue working on. I'm still involved in the beta groups and with the product team. So the challenges that I saw at Powell are challenges that I'm going to continue to address.
That's awesome. One of the things I was keen to bring up was you were a big advocate of the Inventor tube and pipe modules.
Yes.
You were a heavy user of those. It's still a big sore point for quite a few users. I see it quite a lot. I don't use it myself, but I hear from quite a few people who are kind of smashing their heads against walls trying to make things work, and auto routes smashing up all over the place and things flying around, and the usual.
Don't get me started on auto routes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So is that something which you're still kind of keen to progress and take on?
Yes.
Because I assume you don't just forget about that kind of stuff, once you move over to Autodesk. Is that something you're able to pursue and kind of take the baton on internally?
That's something that I will continue to pursue, but being more involved in the role that I'm in now, I'm going to try to expand on not just tube and pipe, but addressing other issues that I can, where I can and whenever I can. But yes, the tube and pipe issue is one that I'm not ready to let go of yet.
It's just one of those. It's one of those issues where, like, I think there's so many people who are using it and are frustrated with it, but then it kind of, all the issues just seemed, from my point of view anyway, just have gone into a black hole, because it was like there was people shouting, but there was no one on the other side who kind of. This is probably not true. But they just didn't seem to go anywhere, But now, like, there's someone there who we know kind of understands it. It just seems like it's just a great person to kind of just usher all the complaints, to just make sense of them and push them on. So that's great.
Yeah, I can tell you that there's definitely an awareness of those issues inside of Autodesk, and there are people working on them. That's pretty much about all as far as I can go on that, without giving away some of the secrets. But stick with the idea stations, post your ideas. They are being seen. Every single idea you post in the idea forums is viewed. Add comments, add images, add screenshots, videos, whatever. The more detail you give on the issue you're having, the more information you're giving Autodesk to help them fix the problem.
So yes, speaking about like the idea station and the official Autodesk hosted community forums and boards, as I guess they're called. I was doing a bit of research myself and trying to find out from end users why they visit certain areas and then seek help from where they seek help from. I got a bit of feedback from some people who were quite hesitant to visit the official Autodesk boards, I think due to historical misconceptions about the boards being mostly frequented by Autodesk staff who won't give them an honest answer. You typically, or they would feel they'd typically get a response of, that the issue that you've got is by design, or it's they're not going to get a straightforward, straight up honest answer on anything that they're reporting. So are the boards the same way now, or is there anything that we can say to these guys to say, hey, actually it's a very different place now, and it's open to all, and is there anything we can kind of put out to those guys to sort of encourage them to give it a shot?
I could say from my own experience, I mean, I've been visiting these boards since back in the T5 days when they were news groups, and it's a considerably different place than it was 10 years ago. You will still see a lot of Autodesk employees in the forums who are answering questions. You've got a a huge group of product experts, including the expert elites, who are in there answering questions just because they can and they want to. I would say that it's a very open place to go and ask whatever question is on your mind. Hopefully you're gonna get an answer. And now it's my job to make sure that you get some sort of an answer. I will point out it's not always going to be the answer that you want.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're gonna find out that you just simply can't do what it is that you're trying to do, and that's where you might want to jump into the idea station and suggest it for a future enhancement. There are some times that an Autodesk person will respond to a question, and there's simply things that they cannot say. They cannot and will not talk about the future of the product because that's just something that they're not going to do in an open forum. If you want to discuss the future of the Autodesk products, I suggest joining the beta forums, and you can get a much broader sense of where things are going in that respect. Obviously, people are free to go wherever they feel comfortable to get the answers that they are looking for, but I will say that the expertise in these Autodesk forums is well worth looking into. I think you're going to get a better quality of answer, in my opinion. That's been my experience. Again, it may not always be the answer that you want, but it's going to be an answer.
Yeah, honestly though, the forums the official boards have been a massive help personally to me. I mean, I've got stories going back years for how they've helped me out personally. And Autodesk's own product support staff visiting those forums is actually a massive benefit, because there's sometimes where you're in production and you hit a real issue, and you could log it with your reseller, but there's a good chance that they aren't going to be able to answer it quick enough, or they may not have the technical expertise to get the answer that you need. If you put a question out to the official boards and you know that Autodesk product support is scanning that board, there's been times where I've called on that and it's been an absolute lifesaver, especially for things like vault issues, where you've had database issues with the vault, that kind of thing, and product support have stepped in and taken it up. But you also get senior members of the product teams scanning the boards as well. That's where they pick up certain ideas, they pick up trends and stuff like that from the boards, and I've made a good few contacts with an Autodesk from the boards as well. So it's not all just corporate wish-washing, nonsense over there. It's genuine people trying to get genuine help and offering genuine help, and it's. I
can say that in the two forums that are my primary focus, Inventor and Vault, the number one solution author in each of them is an Autodesk product person. So they're in there, they're engaging with the customers, and they're giving them the answers to their questions. And obviously those answers are being accepted as solutions for them to have reached that rank.
Yeah.
So that's good to see. I want to point out on that end, every Tuesday afternoon for 4 hours right now, they are doing what they call office hours, where for those 4 hours, and in Eastern time, it's 1 to 5. So that translates around the world. Office hours, there will be Autodesk support staff actively monitoring the forums to answer your questions.
That's awesome. And they also have these community events as well, don't they? There's various like Inventor Days and Revit Days, and they're also hosted.
Occasionally, yeah. They used to do the answer days, but because of the whole pandemic thing, they kind of changed that to the office hours since everybody's working from home anyway.
Okay, cool. So you were working on something else as well. You've got another project that you're working on, which is kind of community based.
Born out of the official Autodesk response to COVID-19 was a website for very small businesses to help them with a set of resources to remain competitive and relevant during the economic downturns and hard times. We've created these boards that are now industry specific, realizing that people are not simply defined by the product that they use. You're not just an inventor user, you're a designer or an engineer or whatever. So we wanted to create these resources that are more industry specific versus product specific. Don't worry, the product boards are not going anywhere. They'll always be there. But now we have these 3 new sites, one for design and manufacturing, one for the AEC world, and one for media and entertainment, where people within these industries, regardless of their discipline within that industry, can connect with each other and share a whole new set of resources that we've compiled onto these pages. We've created a LinkedIn group in each one of them where we're posting jobs, where you can go in and post jobs that you're aware of in that industry to help people who've been put off by COVID. We've got links to things like the services marketplace, the webinar series. We've created a bunch of new discussion forums. In the design and manufacturing site, for example, we call it Shop Talk, and it's a place where you can go and just talk about anything you want to talk about related to product design, manufacturing, whatever's on your mind. Share what you're working on, ask for advice on like best practices, whatever you want to talk about. There's also a supplier advertising board that we've added, which is one of the only places inside of the Autodesk forums where you're allowed to actually advertise a product or service without having the post removed as being spam. So there is now a place where you can do that. And so if you're a small business or a startup and you're looking for a product or service, you can check these boards and see if someone has posted what it is that you're looking for. I'm gonna send you the links to all of these sites, and hopefully you can tack them onto the video.
Yeah, I'll put them in the description. So is this a permanent, like perpetual thing, or is this just for the duration of the current pandemic?
Remains to be seen. How effective they are, how much they are being used will determine how long they last. It's a new initiative. It's just getting feet underneath it. We're really trying to build engagement right now. I would say it's in its infancy right now, so the future is undecided.
Right. Is there a like a differentiation between locations in there? Is it like quite easy if you're looking at something, you go, that's quite of an interest to me, or that position is something I might be interested in? Is it easy to see location?
At this point, it's a little bit harder to find. We are working on increasing the visibility of these new sites. Originally, because it was a part of the COVID response, you had to go to the COVID-19 response website within Autodesk in order to find these. Just recently, we've started adding sidebar links in the discussion forums that'll take you directly to these pages. There's a top banner in just about every Autodesk forum now that will take you to these industry sites. And within the industry sites themselves, we've added navigation bars that will take you back and forth between the various resources that are available. So the visibility and awareness of these, it's only going to get better as the next couple of weeks go by. And me telling you about them will help as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Autodesk they've went above and beyond, since the pandemic started. So they've got to be applauded for that. Offering up the cloud services, the Fusion Team, BIM 360, the Flow training program.
That's been huge.
Yeah,
that's been huge.
They've done an absolute awful lot. I mean, some of the stuff that they've been doing, I've looked at it and went, that has to be a mistake. That just does not look sustainable or even real. And then you look at it and you're like, no, actually they are doing that. It's insane.
The Flow training program has been so big that they've had to move to a wait list until the next quarter because they used up all of the vouchers that were set aside for this. We're hoping that we can get that moving again really soon. So, because I know there's a lot of interest in that.
Yeah, just in case anyone isn't aware of what that is, because I haven't spoken of it yet, but the Flow training scheme is FLOW. It's furloughed and laid off workers scheme.
Yes.
And it's, the details have changed a lot or been altered over the duration of the scheme, but any company who's been affected by COVID, they can apply for it's a $250 discount on a training day.
What they're doing now is they're giving anyone who is unemployed because of COVID a voucher that can be used to sign up for any of the training that's on the training website. There's a link you go to. You find the training center, any of the authorized training centers. You find the training center you want to use. You find the class that you want to use, and then you apply the voucher. And like I said, at this point, you're being put on a wait list for that voucher. But eventually, you'll get the training, and it's for free.
It's crazy. I mean, the Autodesk paying for training for. So
if you've been laid off, this is a fantastic opportunity to learn some new skills that might help you get another job.
Yeah. All right. Thanks very much, Chris. Awesome to have you on. Congratulations again on the role, and well done for all the work that you're doing. These industry boards sound awesome. Yeah,
they're only going to get better.
If anyone's interested in that, links are going to be in the description. If you want to speak with Chris, if you want to interface with him, you can hit him up on LinkedIn. I'll put all these details in the description down below. He's also a keen photographer. I'm sure you want to check out his paintings. I see it published all over LinkedIn. Are you doing that actually like full on part time as like a separate gig?
Well, it's a hobby at this point in time, but I have tried over the past few years to market my art publicly. But I'm one of 10 million photographers out there trying to sell their artwork. So
but anyone with an iPhone is a photographer, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody with an iPhone in their hand is a photographer these days. But I actually use a real DSLR camera. And I modify my photos in a series of different apps that I use that kind of make them look like paintings or sketches or whatever you have. Yeah, if anybody wants to check it out, look me up on Flickr. You can see my artwork.
Yeah, I'll put that all in the description, mate. Yeah, so thanks very much, Chris. Like I said, if anyone's got any issues, if you want to chat with Chris about anything that we've talked about, links are in the description. Thanks again, Chris, for coming on. Good luck with the work you're doing.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, it was a pleasure to talk to you. And
yeah, it's always nice talking to you.
And good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.